Hello everyone, this is Chad Redding here with Strange Familiars and Ruck Rabbit Outdoors. I am once again back in Pandemonium. I am camping tonight here, actually on the mountain above Pandemonium. I decided to do that instead, something different, a little bit of different territory versus the Sunday Place campsite. I'm across from the Doubling Gap Lookout, which is on top of the mountain here. It's beautiful. It's on Bower Mountain Road. So right now I am at Pioneer Cemetary, as you can see, and I'm going to take you for a quick little tour through Pandemonium. I don't think we've ever actually done this, so you're going to see what we see. You'll get to see the cemetery a little bit, and you'll also get to see the hand tree or creepy turkey, whatever you want to call it. So let's start out right here. This is the rock that is supposedly the grave site of a little girl. Some legends say a slave girl that was killed by mistake, or another little girl that was buried here. So as you can see, the offerings have really increased. I don't know if that's due to us or what, but every time I'm here, it gets to be more. So not that that's a bad thing, but just saying. So, but that's right outside the cemetery, Pioneer Cemetery. And supposedly the legend says that she comes out of her grave and tries to go into the cemetery with everyone else. If she was African American, of course, they're not going to, sadly, they're not going to bury her with everybody else. That's sadly what they did back then. So I don't condone that. That's just how it was back then in history. So let's go into the cemetery. So they just put a new plaque up here, which was really interesting. And sorry about the bouncing around. It's a little rocky here, so the footing's a little uneven. Repainted the sign. And they just added a new plaque with some information on the town. Actually has a little map and shows where some of the houses are located, which is pretty cool. Has a picture of the first ranger who lived at Sunday Place, which you can still see the foundation of that cabin that he lived with his family, and that's where me and Tim camped the first time we came up here. So it's pretty cool. So I won't read that to you. We'll save that for another time. But anyways, let's go into the cemetery. Like I said, please excuse the shakiness of the cam. So now in the cemetery, just to give you a quick view, do a quick walk around here. As you can see, it's very quiet. You know, I'm here during the day. Some people have left some offerings at the cemetery itself. See if you can see them. There's some coins right here. Here, let me get the camera there. I'm having problems getting the camera to see it, but there's a coin and looks like a photo there. But anyways, this is the cemetery. And last time me and Tim were here, some branches had fallen and we did clean it up. Let me put the thing. It's probably the biggest marker. Some are pretty clear, some are not. That says Caroline Keck Miller, wife of Noah Miller, died April 29th, or she lived April 29th, 1837 to June 19th, 1871. So she lived not quite 40 years. There are some Civil War veterans here. I'll get down here so if you can see that. See that? That's a medallion for the Grand Army of the Republic. So that was Mr. Says Shamball. I think that was the gentleman who was actually, he was a Civil War vet and he was killed working here at down at the tanning steam tannery. he was cutting bark and he was killed, so he left a widow and orphans, which was sad back then. Looks like somebody left some flowers here. And they're fake, of course. Sorry the camera got a little tilted. But yeah, you can see that's George B., son of Daniel Essie. So, but it looks like there's been some flowers. They put flags on the veterans, which is really cool. So this corner down here, and there's probably a lot of unmarked graves here too, because this valley, was inhabited in the late 1700s. So this is like the one back corner. And right there is where me and Tim had seen something white. Actually just got a little shiver just talking about that. The one night we were here with my son Chase, so it got a little dicey that night as the sun went down. We always found that the cemetery is quiet. Never have like too much happen here. This seems to be a peaceful place. It's outside the cemetery that stuff gets a little weird. So now I'm going to walk through this back entrance. Right here. So there's a front and a back entrance. And I'm actually going to walk into the town of Pandemonium. So here we go. In we go. Most people that we have talked to say that this area happens to be the craziest. This is out back in here is where mostly everything seems to happen, which to me makes more sense versus the cemetery, because this is where people lived, where they were most active. So I'm just making my way here. The hand tree is right up here, so I'm going to show you that. The infamous ham tree, or flaming turkey, or creepy turkey, or whatever you want to call it. It's soon going to be disappeared. Let's see if I can get it on the camera here. Ooh, wrong way. There it is. That is the ham tree, the symbol of Pandemonium for strange familiars. So, all right, let's walk through here. I'm off trail. There's no trail through here. Adjust my hat a little bit. Excuse that. And I will show you one of the buildings. Believe it or not, somebody can. So, it's right behind me. That pile of rocks is one of the buildings. So what that basically they would do here, because the soil is so rocky, you had to basically pile rocks up till you get a somewhat level platform, and then you would build your cabin or building or whatnot on that. As you can see, that looks like somewhat level. So what happens is, with this being the northeast, it doesn't take real long for people for the wood to rot, and you're just left with a pile of rocks. And then what happens is, as wind and water and all that come down this mountain, the rocks are shifted. So that's just to give you an idea. Now up here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can angle the camera. Looks somewhat flat. That's the road that comes down the mountain. Actually, there is a path that comes from that road to the cemetery. And that's the road they would travel to go to work to cut the trees down for the tannery. Hemlock trees have a lot of, and oak have a lot of tannin in them, and that's what they would use to tan the hides. And the steam tannery is down by the water. What's left of it anyways. So this area here, that one pile of rocks is where we had the disappearing cairn that I saw, then we built, and it's now gone, but that's where we had a cairn that I saw and then disappeared, and then we built one and it looked just like it. It was really weird. But yeah, it's about noonish right now, so let's keep moving here. Keep walking through the town. The last building that was here in Pandemonium that you can really see the foundations, like I talked about, is the schoolhouse, and that's really right near the road. There's actually a sign that shows that, and the last family moved out in 1913, like the actual people that lived here, not the forest ranger. He was a little longer, obviously, but actual town people. And once he was gone, then the schoolmaster left. But you'll see piles of rocks around me, and all of them are buildings. There are some that are larger. And you have to remember, buildings back then weren't that big. And sometimes, you know, you would have logs stretched across the foundations. But here's one you can really see it. Let me turn around here. You see that? Yep. So see how that's stacked, somewhat level? That was a house or a building of some sort. That's what we have here for ghost towns a lot of times here in Pennsylvania. Down in Sunday Place, there's an actual cement foundation for the Sunday Place cabin. And they call it Sunday Place because the ranger, his last name was Sunday. So that's why they call it, that's why the Forest Service calls that Sunday Place campsite. There's also a lot more foundations, because that was actually part of the town, and the CCC camp, which was here in the 1930s. That's another foundation. A lot of tree foliage. So I'm moving closer to where me and Tim were camping. I'm on the mountain above it. So we were basically in the middle of the town. There's a wall of some sort I'm approaching. I'll show you guys that when we get there. Right, of course. Yeah, here it is. Here we go with the strangeness right away. Let me get down so you guys can see this. This is how it works for us. Mylar balloon. See it? Right here. It's yellow with blue stars on it. Mylar balloon. So here we go already. So 12 o'clock noon, and already it starts. So this is a wall of some sort, I think. You can see it right there. I'll pan up the mountainside, and it goes up to the road. See it? You see that pile of rocks? That's the old road up there. Right there. So that flat spot running there is the roadbed. And this little wall runs all the way up there to that. So it's like another barrier. And there's this really cool walk over here to this. One of the bigger foundations. And it's really neat. This place creeps me out, I admit it. I'm brave, but this does get to me just a little bit. This is where we had seen that road I walked on when I was up here last time on the Patreon episode. That was definitely where I had seen shadow figures. That's when I was chasing something white. It was traveling that road when I got out of Tim and Chase's eyesight. And it's just not, it's a little unnerving, even during the day, just because I notice it. Going downhill a little bit here. Here's a lot of foundation. Really get to see it. I just got to watch where I'm walking, because there are timber rattlers here. It's best to be safe. So if you see me look down, that's why. Here's another one. So just to give you guys an idea. I'll go over here, you can really get to see it. There's a large one over here also. There you can go. Now you can see the two. And that's the foundation right there. It's somewhat level on the side. I mean, this is like a downhill grade. Like right now you're looking up the mountain. You can see it. That's the mountaintop. And they leveled it off a little bit. And they would just stack the rocks so they could get them level. Like I said, probably use a water level. Just basically a trough. So this one's freaky over here. This is a giant tree. Can't tell what kind. It's one of my favorite ones. You guys can see that? So it's just holding on there, but it's grown right out of a foundation. So you figure that tree, this place was abandoned in the early 1900s. That tree's over 100 years old, at least. I'll move around here and you can see a lot more of this. Some of them you can actually see where there used to be steps. And there you can really get a good look at it. That's a building, what's left of it. And that's what they would do. Like I said, you weren't digging no foundations here. No, you were not. There's a car going down the road, so if you hear that, it's just a car. But I'm almost to Bower Mountain Road. And beyond that is where the old CCC camp was in the 1930s. And the Dynamite Shack is down the road here from us. But all this is Pandemonium. I'll be here tonight. I'm actually going to penetrate this tonight. I've actually never been in here at night, just because it's really freaky. There's a cairn. Don't know how that works out. I'm sure people stacked it. I'll show you guys it. Definitely not natural. You can see it there. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a tour of what Pandemonium really is. I mean, you hear it, but you've never really seen it in a video. So this actually is a video for you guys. Like I said, pardon the shakiness. And we'll head back over here to the vehicle. I've traveled about 100 yards, roughly. Another old building. So, and this isn't all the town. There's actually part of the town on the other side of the cemetery. When you pull in, you can actually see the piles of rocks. So there are buildings on the other side of Laurel Run Road. That's the stone forest road that leads through here. You can come here, easily accessible by car. And I encourage you guys to come out. Me and Tim do. It's why we go to places that you guys can all go. Oh, look at that. Let me show this to you. It's pretty cool. If I can get him on the camera. Ooh. Sorry about that. A little spider. Just walking along. Don't ask me what kind. I like stuff like that. Pretty cool. But yeah, this just gives you an idea of what this is like here. Doesn't look like much. If you wouldn't know there was a town, you know, here's another one. Another foundation. Right there. If you wouldn't know, you would just think these were just piles of rocks, but they weren't. They were houses and buildings. People lived here. But yeah, there are also other buildings on the other side of Laurel Run Road. The tannery is right below us on the creek. And there were some buildings like, as you pull into the pull-off for the cemetery, you'll see piles of rocks. So if you come up here, there's a little, on that plaque, there's a little map. And you might be able to match some of the buildings. They show Mrs. Hazel's house. I don't know, but she might be the widow or the wife of James Hazel, the man who was murdered on the mountain. Up that way. He went turkey hunting. He was supposed to go turkey hunting with a friend. And he never came back. They found him on the mountainside dead. His gun laying alongside of him. And he was shot in the back. And the townspeople seem to think they knew who did it. In a small town, I'm sure they did. Here's, I don't know if I showed this one, but I'm going to show this one. This one's a really good one. I showed this one before, I'm sorry, but you can see it's a really nice, it's a good shot on one of those, one of the foundations. And this almost looks like a step. There, right there behind me. There was some building there at one time. These places weren't big, I'm sure of it. But anyways, back to what I digress. The townspeople seemed to think they knew what happened to him, and not long after that, Mrs. Hazel's house burned down. So what's that tell you? So anyways, that's some of the things I found on the research I've done. I'm still trying to track down pictures. I'm still working on that. It's just a lot. You know, there's always so much to do. So, anyhow, just wanted to show you guys this. It's quiet here today. I saw a couple hunters here. That's about it. All right, I'll walk through this little grove of trees. So just to give you guys an idea of what happened. There's a little rock outcropping here. I'm sure it's part of a house. And I was standing here talking to Tim, and I turned around, and the sun was shining on like a rock cairn. And I was like, wow, there's a cairn there. It's kind of neat how the sun's shining, and he saw that I noticed it, and I turned around and it was gone, and it freaked me out. So I was like, what? So I don't know. I'm sure there's all kinds of theories on that, you know, time showing through and so on and so forth. But yeah, so let's walk through here. You can see me holding on to the stick to give you guys a video. So like I said, sorry it's a little shaky, but I am walking through some rough terrain. So we're going back through the cemetery. I'm going back to the vehicle. And I will come back at night. I won't be shooting any video then. Wind's picked up a little bit. And I'm not calling for any storms, but it sure as heck looks like it's gonna. But we'll do a quick pan here again so you guys can see this. But if you're ever in the area, come up and see it. Pay your respects. Be respectful to the people who were here. These people lived a hard life. They were tough people to live out here. And you know, I'm 6 miles in by car. Okay, doesn't seem like much, but back then that was a lot, and you didn't have the roads that we have now. But these people would get up every day. They would go up to the mountaintop. They would cut bark off the trees, cut the trees down, take it down to the sawmill. Some of them worked down at the steam tannery. It was hot, dirty, dangerous work. People were killed, and you know, they were tough people. Tough people, you know, to have that kind of life and eke out an existence in this rock-strewn forest. So this is Daniel B. Henry. These are the Henrys. And Henry Valley, which is another name for this place. And you can see they have the most spectacular tombstones. And this one has a hand on it holding something. I'll see if I can get it close so you guys can see that. Yep. A little hard to. There you go. I'll do some stills of it. There, that's a better shot of it. So it says Daniel B. Henry died October 14th, 1902. Aged. Whoa! Pardon that, camera spun. That's typical when, anyways. It says Daniel B. Henry died October 14th, 1902, and he was aged 77 years, which was a long time for back then. You know, he obviously owned a lot of stuff, so I doubt he had to work as hard as a lot of the people that worked for him. So I apologize for the spin on the video. I'm not shooting this again, so I'm just going to leave it in there, or we'll edit it out. So, anyways, I'm leaving the cemetery. Thank you for watching this, and be sure to subscribe and click the like, and share this around. Like I said, it's not professional, but I at least wanted to give you guys a view of this. It's really nice, here. I really enjoy this place. I love the woods anyways. I love anywhere in Pennsylvania, especially places with history. So if you're in the area, be sure to check it out. And like I said, pay your respects. If you want to leave a little offering, go right ahead. But, just remember, these people worked hard. They eked out a living in this place. And, respect them. So anyways, fair weather and safe journeys. Until next time, thank you.